Hi, I'm Jonah Comstock, Editor-in-Chief at pharmaphorum. I'm here at the last day of CAR TCR in Boston, and I'm joined by Mindy Miller, the lead research scientist at Terumo.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about yourself and Terumo.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. So, yeah, I'm Mindy Miller. I'm an immunologist actually by training, and I lead the scientific efforts within the cell therapy group at Terumo BCT. So, Terumo is actually a 100-year-old company, been around a really long time, based in Japan. But the cell therapy or the um, blood and cell technologies part of our company has been in Lakewood, Colorado since the 1960s. And so, what we do, we're a medical device company, and I'd say we're best known for our blood collections and separations devices. But we also offer an array of devices for the cell and gene therapy space. So, a patient that has maybe a CAR T therapy, they would do their collections on a Spectra Optia, and that's a Terumo device. We also have a cell expansion device as well as a Finia fill and finish.
Interesting. Yeah, I've been hearing from different folks, cell therapy is a pretty new technology, but it uses some of these older technologies that maybe now there's more demand for, right? Like apheresis.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Um, our devices do support a lot of range, but for example, our cell expansion system, which is really the bread and butter of our cell therapy space, our device has been on the market for 10 years, and it was primarily used for adherent cell types like MSCs. But recently, with the demands for cell and gene therapy and suspension cells like T cells, we've done a lot of investigating and found that this device is spectacular for growing T cells and other suspension cells.
So, how is your experience at a show like this? Obviously, a lot of the players in CAR T and cell therapy are here, but also a lot of your competitors and a lot of your kind of peers in other parts of the manufacturing
Yeah.
infrastructure. So, what are some of the things you're here to kind of learn about and compare notes on?
Yeah, I mean, I think in an industry like this, we're all here to really serve the patients and serve the patients best. So even though there are competitors, I think we're all better together. So, competition drives innovation. It's great to hear how other companies are developing products, are meeting the needs of our customers, and at the same time, it gives us an opportunity to talk about our advantages. So, for example, our hollow fiber technology really mimics physiology in a way that I have never seen another device or technology able to do.
Oh, tell me more about that.
Yeah, so as an immunologist, when I first stepped into the lab and I saw our device, I opened up the door and I immediately thought that this was like an artificial lymphatic system. Just the way the tubing was laid out, the hollow fiber bioreactor really mimics a lymph node. And the more I interact with this device, the more I see these similarities are real. So, for example, when we're growing suspension cells in the bioreactor, we can reach cell densities equivalent to that in a human lymph node. And that's because we can deliver oxygen and nutrients in a very similar fashion. So in our bodies, oxygen and nutrients are delivered to cells at a very small distance, like 1 to 200 microns. The bioreactor is the same exact distance. And
Interesting.
we're able to oxygenate our media in a way that is very similar to the way our body oxygenates our blood through our alveolar capillaries. The physiological similarities are overwhelming.
So, what I'm hearing a lot is that in cell therapy, as it emerges and as the volume of treatments available and approved and everything increases, there's this need not just for like a volume of manufacturing, but really for efficiency, quality,
Yes.
scaling this in a way that actually allows it to get out to patients. And of course, it's much more complicated than traditional drug manufacturing
Yes.
because well, especially with autologous, you've got to take people's blood out and
Mm.
modify their cells and put it back in. But
Yeah.
even with allogeneic, there's a lot of supply chain challenges and things like that. So, how do you sort of, what are some of the innovations you're kind of working on to get ahead of that? And how do you stay kind of above the fray and all the companies trying to solve these problems?
Totally. So we just released a new product last year called the Quantum Flex, and that's our next generation bioreactor. And so as part of this, we now offer multiple bioreactor sizes. So we have a very small size used for product development work. It can also support an autologous therapy. So a single dose, single person, it is applicable for that. We still offer our standard size bioreactor in which you can really generate so many cells. It would be more of an allogeneic, multi dose therapy. So we're able to serve what we hope is the future of medicine. And because of the hollow fiber technology and the way we can manipulate fluidics in our system, we are already able to support a wide array of cell types. So if we think about TILs or NK cells or even CAR-Max, we can support all of the growth of all of these types of cells by changing the microenvironment inside the bioreactor.
I might be off base here, but the way you're talking about your technology, it almost sounds like sort of like there could be applications in an organ on a chip sort of situation, actually doing the research um, in these machines because they mimic the
Yeah.
biological environment. Is that something you guys are interested in or looking into, or?
I love what you're thinking. I love where your mind goes there. Yeah, and I do think that it's very applicable to early stage research, product development. How can we, one, mimic physiology to generate the cells we want, but also use this as a physiological mimic to discover what cells are doing?
Right.
It's a fascinating concept.
So, what are kind of some of the, just kind of stepping back from your own work?
Mhm.
You've been here a little while. What are some of the trends you've seen or developments you've seen that have been the most exciting, or that you're going to go home and talk to your team about?
Yeah, I love being in this space because it does change so quickly. So, you know, just 2 years ago, not even 2 years ago, 1 to 3 years ago in this space, the conversations were all about how do we get patients their cells quickly enough. We have patients that are dying while they're waiting for their treatment to be manufactured. And I think that the industry really stepped up to the bar, and now we can deliver really quick therapies. I don't think that conversation is really based on the biology anymore because now we have systems like Quantum Flex and many others that can generate so many cells quickly. But now the conversation is really more of a regulatory matter. Like we can generate the cells, but they still have to go through this really lengthy quality assurance, safety testing, lot release before it can be released to the patient. And so I'm very eager to see, in the next year or two, how are we going to meet those needs? How can we, maybe through closed systems or through automated devices, can increase the expediency of getting the cells to the patients.
Right, and that decrease in turnaround time also increases the volume of patients you're able to treat. Right.
Absolutely. Patient access is a huge theme that I've seen this year. Not only how do we get more therapies to more people, whether that's solid tumors now that we could tackle, off the shelf allogeneic, but really, how do we make sure that our treatments are equitable? How do we ensure that everybody can get treatment because everybody deserves these cells? And so there is a big push and a big, conscious effort on companies right now to increase the availability of these products.
Any other thoughts that are on your mind that we haven't talked about yet?
I'm so thankful to be surrounded by all of this innovation and all of these companies. And I hope that when people start thinking about generating a cell therapy product, they start very early in the process and identify key players that can support them throughout the process. So that's early stage product development. That's looking at the innovative technologies that will be around and be able to support them as their products develop all the way to manufacturing. I think identifying your key partners early in the process is so critical.
That's a great point, and I have heard that a lot here too. Some of these companies are startups, and they want to tackle this as a startup mentality and a minimum viable product. But
Yeah,
you really have to be thinking about the end game to some extent, or else you're going to get pretty hung up when you don't have the right data the payers need, or you don't have the right data for
absolutely.
regulatory.
Yeah, yeah. The data transparency is very important. All of our devices that we're offering are 21 CFR Part 11 compliant, so we have all the traceability. We are ready to meet regulatory requirements and safety requirements and just get our therapies to patients faster.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Mindy.
I
I
appreciate
really
your time.
appreciate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much.